Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So now that it's the new year, in this video I wanted to talk about my current credit card strategy in 2022. So I'll talk about some of the points balances that I have in my account right now and some other important things to know about credit card points, what cards I currently have in my wallet that I plan to use the most this year, what credit cards I plan on applying for later on in the year, and a few other general things like that. So hopefully for anyone that's watching this, you'll be able to find something useful to help you make the most out of credit cards in 2022. And if that sounds good to you, then go ahead and tap the like button down below and consider subscribing as well to help support the channel. But let's get right into it. Now let's start off with credit card points because I do have a few 100,000 points across both Chase and American Express, and I have been redeeming a lot of those points lately. But let's take a look to see exactly how many points I have in those accounts. So as you can see, I have about 85,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points and about 292,000 American Express membership rewards points. And I also recently just transferred an additional 130,000 Chase points over to Hyatt, where I then redeem those points for a couple of resort hotel stays that I have upcoming over the next few months. And I know that sounds like a lot of points. Now this brings me to a couple of the main things that I wanted to talk about that are so important to consider when it comes to credit card points. Number one is inflation and devaluation, and number two is points flexibility. So the fact is that over time, credit card points do not increase in value. They actually lose their value over time as banks, airlines, and hotels can really devalue those points whenever they want to. In other words, if last year it cost you 50,000 points to book a certain hotel stay, maybe now this year it costs you 60,000 points to book that exact same stay because that hotel chain decided to make changes to its award prices. Now you're gonna have to use 20% more points to book that same hotel stay after those devaluation changes were made, so you're using more points and you're getting less value for all the points that you've already accumulated. Banks can also change around the rules for point redemptions, just like what happened earlier in 2021 with the Charles Schwab Amex Platinum card, where they decreased the rate that you could redeem your MR points into a Charles Schwab brokerage account from 1.25 cents per point down to 1.1 cents per point. Now, I really wanted to get that Schwab Platinum card at some point in the future just to have that option to cash out my points if I wanted to. I do still plan to get it eventually, but let's take a look and see what those 292,000 Amex MR points that I have right now would be worth at that old redemption value versus the new redemption value. So at 1.25 cents per point, 292,000 MR points would redeem out to $3,650 into my Charles Schwab brokerage account. But now after that devaluation down to 1.1 cents per point, those same $292,000 would only be worth $3,212. So that's over a $400 difference right there. And I also wanted to mention something that goes along with those devaluations, just like in those examples, and that is inflation, because we're seeing inflation everywhere these days. Prices of things like transportation and travel are just going to continue to increase over time. Now, pricing for things like flights and hotels is going to depend on a number of different factors, including things like location and time of the year. But in general, with all else equal, as cash prices continue to rise for things like travel, that can further affect things like point devaluations and point redemptions. And with credit card points, you do not want to be hoarding them all at once or trying to save them for a very, very long period of time. The best practice is to try to accumulate those and then use them as fast as you can within reason. Obviously, do not waste it on bad redemption options below 1 cent per point or anything like that. But the longer that you do hold those credit card points, the greater risk of devaluation that you'll face. And this leads me to why I have so many Chase and American Express cards and points and not many specific hotel or airline cards and points. And that is because of points flexibility, which I think is such an important thing to think about. Chase and American Express offer many great redemption options for my points that I have. So I could transfer those points out to their travel partners. I could redeem those points through their travel portals and other things just like that. So I have options, and even if one or more of those travel partners decides to devalue the point systems, I could just ignore those travel partners and focus on the ones with the better redemption options instead, because I have that flexibility. With all the big point and mile welcome bonuses that we saw throughout 2021 in the credit card game, I'm slightly concerned about future devaluations that we could see later on this year or next year. So I'm glad that I do have a lot of points with Chase and American Express, because even if there are future devaluations, I'll have those options and that flexibility. Like I said earlier, I definitely have been taking advantage of that point flexibility for Chase and Amex points by transferring those points out to different travel partners to get that increased value for some upcoming trips. And I also plan to book some more trips after those trips are done. So 2022 is going to be a big year of travel for me, as long as everything goes according to plan. And of course, that is all thanks to credit cards and credit card points, which basically allow me to travel for free. Now next, I'll go over some of the credit cards that I have here in my wallet that I plan to use the most throughout 2022, especially in the first quarter, because I do have some cool things going on with a few of these cards. So first of all, I'm currently finishing up a minimum spend requirement that I have on one of my newer credit cards, which is the Amex Blue Business Plus, and that is going to be a minimum spend of $3,000 over the first 3 months to get 15,000 membership rewards points in return. So it's not the best welcome bonus offer out there, but it's not too bad either. And on top of that, I'll be earning an extra 4x points per dollar on everything with this Blue Business Plus card for the next couple of months here. That is thanks to a referral bonus offer that Amex was offering a few months ago. That allows you to get 4x points per dollar extra on top of whatever the base earnings rate that card has, which is 2x points per dollar on the Blue Business Plus. So 2 plus 4 is 6x points per dollar, which is awesome. Now, besides that, the credit card that I'll be using the most in Q1 of 2022 is going to be my Chase Freedom Flex, because this card gets 5x points per dollar in rotating quarterly categories, and those categories are going to change each and every quarter. But for Q1 of 2022, one of those categories is grocery stores. I also have the 5x points welcome bonus on groceries for the first year that I have my Freedom Flex, which I can stack on top of that. So those two things combined on my Freedom Flex is going to give me 9x back on groceries until the end of March, which is great because I do eat a lot and I spend a lot at grocery stores. Now, after those two cards, the next one that could make its way back into my credit card rotation is going to be my Amex Platinum card. Normally, I just keep my Amex Platinum at home because it's not much of an everyday spending type of card. It's more about the benefits, and I'll only take it with me if I'm traveling. But with my big $695 annual fee coming up for this card in February, I'm going to be calling up American Express and seeing if they can offer me some sort of retention offer. Now, in case you have this card and didn't know, Amex does not want to lose you as a customer, so even if you are considering closing your Amex Platinum card, you should definitely send a message to American Express customer service and ask them if there's anything they can do to keep you as a customer before you close that card. With the recent annual fee increase from $550 to $695, that caught a lot of people off guard, and American Express knows this, so they're willing to offer some pretty decent retention offers for people not to close their card. And I've already heard from some of you down in the comments that Amex is offering anywhere from maybe 40,000 to 60,000 MR points or a similar value in statement credits after spending $3,000 to $4,000 on this card in 3 months to qualify. So I anticipate receiving a similar offer, which I'll gladly take, because even though the annual fee is a lot, the Amex Platinum does bring a lot of good value to me from the benefits that it has. I'll be sure to document the whole process to show how getting a retention offer goes for me, but hopefully I do at least get 40,000 points as an offer, and then the Amex Platinum card will become my go-to card for spending throughout February, March, and April as I work towards hitting that minimum spend requirement. Now, because I'll be focusing a lot of my spending on those 3 credit cards that I just talked about for the next few months, I really don't anticipate that I'll apply for any new credit cards until at least the later spring or maybe early summer. That's because number one, those points earning rates on the Freedom Flex and the Blue Business Plus are going to be very good, and I want to take advantage of that. Number two, I'll probably be working towards a minimum spend requirement on my Amex Platinum card. And number three is I'm just sitting on a ton of credit card points at the moment, so I'm really just focusing on finding ways to get good value by redeeming those as well. Now, when the time does eventually come for me to get some new credit cards later on in 2022, here's a few things that I'm considering. I'm currently at 424 with the Chase 524 rule, and as of February, I'll be down to 324. For anyone that's not familiar with that Chase 524 rule, really quick, that is just an unwritten rule that Chase has where you will not be approved for any new Chase credit cards if you've opened up 5 or more personal credit cards across all banks and all issuers within the last 24 months. And since Chase credit cards are some of the best credit cards out there with some of the best welcome bonuses and other things like that, whenever you are under the 524 rule and you're considering getting new credit cards, those Chase credit cards should definitely be a priority. So I'll be focusing on taking advantage of being under that Chase 524 rule. Whenever the time does come for me to apply for new credit cards, I'll just look and see what Chase credit cards are out there and what the best welcome bonuses are according to my own needs. I know that recently I really wanted to get, and I actually planned on getting, the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card because that card has an awesome welcome bonus of 75,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points, but that was after spending $7,500 in the first 3 months of having that card, which is just a lot of money to spend over too little of a time, so I don't know if it's worth it for me to go for that card anymore right now. I actually did the exact same minimum spend in the same time for the same welcome bonus on my Chase Inc. Cash card because I had a lot of planned spending at the time that I got that card, but even when I did that, I actually cut it pretty close in the end, so I don't think those high minimum spend requirements are really worth it for me right now, at least in that short time period. I probably could make it work, but honestly, my monthly expenses are running pretty lean right now. One of my main goals for 2022 is just to keep my expenses very low while sticking to a simple but pretty disciplined monthly budget. And I think things like that should always be much more of a financial priority over things like earning welcome bonuses from credit cards, because like I said, I already do have a ton of credit card points that I'm sitting on, and credit card points are never going to build anyone's wealth. I really don't like to spend that much money money if I don't have to, unless it's for something that truly does make me happy. I'd much rather just save and invest as much of the income that I'm generating. But I will say that one thing that I do want to spend a little bit more money on this year in 2022 within my budget is going to be new Henley shirts, because you guys know that I wear the exact same 3 to 4 shirts in every single one of my videos. I promise these are not the only shirts that I own. They're just really convenient for clipping on this microphone right here. So if you could appreciate that, if you're a true fan of the channel, go ahead and comment the word Henley down below. Show some appreciation for my lack of fashion variety. Now, when it comes to other Chase credit cards that I might have my eye on and ones that I'm considering getting, there's really only one in my mind right now that I do have my attention on, and that is the World of Hyatt card, because that does have a very good reputation and I'm a big fan of Hyatt. You'll get 30,000 points on that card after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months of having that card. It's a $95 annual fee, but you do get 1 free award night certificate per year to help offset the annual fee basically completely. So I think that's a very good card that I'm going to take a look at, but again, probably not until later on in the summertime of this year. Now, I talked a lot about credit card points here in this video and how I'm taking advantage of those to travel almost completely for free throughout 2022, but I did make another really interesting video the other week where I talked about credit cards and some truths that you need to know about credit cards, where those points come from, and other things like that. I definitely think it's interesting for anybody out there that's in the credit card game, so go check it out. I'll link it on the screen right over here and down in the description below. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you haven't done so already, but I hope that you have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.